We are organizing the Lucerne Festival Academy, and this idea was born because Pierre Boulez wanted definitely do something for the contemporary music. This year he suggested to work again with David Robertson as a guest conductor within the Academy, and we asked him what he would like to do, and he suggested to do Turangalîla.
You just fall in love with this music and the strange sounds of the Ondes Martenot and the huge percussion group and the orchestral forces that come down crashing every the immense power that this piece has. The Turangalîla is one of the main reasons for me to apply for this masterclass. And I wrote a huge letter saying why I want to be in this masterclass. And this piece was like, for me, the holy grail of 20th century music. Well, I just love it so much. That's why I'm here.
And the piece has a great connection because it's a huge 20th century piece, but it's still romantic. It's a romantic piece.
I like it very much. It's a great piece, and I think it's a really great possibility for us to work this symphony with the orchestra, because normally you have no chance to.
You can't not love this piece. It's about love, you know.
Yes, so my name is Stijn Berkouwer. I'm from the Netherlands and now studying in Berlin. And now I'm here and I'm looking forward for this. We're doing the first movement.
The Turangalîla is very good for young people because it does require a lot of energy, which young people have in abundance. It also then teaches many different aspects of what you come across in the late 20th century and early 21st century writing for orchestra. And it treats it in a way that is both comprehensible, understandable for all of the players, and although certain parts are very hard, you can immediately hear, even without looking at a score, when it is correct. The moment that it's in place, it's like a perfectly focused picture. You can see all of the details, and everyone has this wondrous experience.
Yes, very nice. I think we're going a tad faster, but what I also would ask for is, it's fortissimo, it's not triple fortissimo, and the feeling we're going for is not anger, it's not only a bit, but it should be more decisive, like da 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 da, like this. Again from the beginning.
First time I met him at all. So far, very good. I mean, I'm very happy with what he says and how he reacts with us and what he teaches us and how he works with the orchestra.
And he has a very special way. He leaves you. You have to conduct. We conduct. It's a normal rehearsal. The orchestra is hearing. Also, when we are doing mistakes. And then at the end, he can say, look, I didn't like that. Change that. Try this. Really interesting.
What I've tried as hard as possible to do is to never undermine the authority that the conductor has when they are up on the podium. This is why at the first session, although I sat next to them because that was the most practical place to sit, I tried to leave huge amounts of time. And it was very funny. This looked like, I can't believe he's still letting me do this. When is he going to come in and chop my legs off? You know, and you can't pull the rug out from under the person. They're the conductor. It's hard enough to stand up there. The last thing I think that a person who is helping someone learn conducting should do is to then further embarrass them or make the job more difficult.
Thank you very much. Let's come back.
One thing which I'd like to remind you of, never as a conductor lose sight of the fact that the people you have in front of you are all really intelligent artists. We are there to help them sort of play better. When you did bum bim bum bim ba, if you had just shown them, they're all gonna go, sorry. I had a conducting teacher who once really put me down to size because he said, you are conducting for the people who are counting rests. When you get to the 2-4 bar, which is right before where they're going to come in, if you can do something where you go, they just feel much better. If you're delivering papers, you know, from your bicycle, we do this in America. They don't do it here. It's a different thing. But so you throw the paper, and you want to get the paper through the window, because then you get the information inside the house. Yeah? So there are two ways of doing it, and that is when the window is open, and not when the window is closed. I would then first go to the violas and the second violins who are playing this stuff, and it's mezzo forte, and they don't have any dynamics, and they're going, what the heck am I doing? Just once you finish dinka, pipa, grab them and sort of get their attention. Like, I know the rest of the orchestra is playing, but you guys are the important things. And then you go, okay, now here, I'd like it to go. And then I'd like to. And you don't need to do a big thing. Lighten this baby up.
Your brain is frying at 150% at every second of conducting anyway. And then in comes this extra information from him. And then you think, okay, he's actually right. I should change this. And they're not together. And yeah, and that works. And it's really, it really tests your limits to also incorporate that at the same time you're doing everything.
David Robertson is really great. He sees this every time from the view of players, and that's really important for us.
He says, this is what the orchestra needs, and this is what they need. Don't do what you want, you have to do what they need, because...
What they need to see.
Yeah, what they need to see.
You know, we've all come from the ensemble by playing an instrument, and I think that Maestro Robertson's very, very good at bringing that out from us and allowing us to be part of that, rather than being the dictator.
Yeah. Also, in how he plans his rehearsals, like, don't make groups wait too long.
You have to think, these players waited 100 bars to get a cue and to play, and then you stop 2 bars before they should play, so such things. Yeah.
He's a friend of them, and they really respect that and like that.
And you feel that he played in orchestra also.
Could we do figure 1 just for a moment? I just want to show you something, just figure 1. And I'm going to start them off, and then I want you to sort of see something. Andrew, with you as well, please. So. Thank you. Enough said. So in other words,
it's probably the best experience of all, because they get to see that there are lots of moments where the orchestra doesn't need them, and then there are critical moments where the orchestra cannot play if they're not there. And so what they're learning is that part of the art of conducting, and it's constantly shifting, is the answer to the question, when do I come in and affect something in the music, and when should I stay back and just let the musicians continue to play? And like I say, this changes, the answer to this question changes even with the same orchestra from day to day and from moment to moment in rehearsal.
Another part of the masterclass in conducting are the lessons of theory or analysis of the pieces we are working on. And every time we are looking for an expert on this subject, and I was doing some research to find someone who is capable and has the knowledge and also the interest to do it. And so I found Peter Hill.
You know what these meetings are with great people after concerts. They kind of sign your autograph book or your program or something like that, and the conversation is usually a little kind of banal. But on this occasion, when George mentioned my name, Messiaens immediately kind of woke up and fixed his gaze on me like a kind of laser. And he said, you are the person who is recording all my piano music. So I admitted this was true. And he paused and then said, well, you'd better come to Paris straight away so I can hear you play. So it was quite a kind of an invitation, but that was also a kind of threat, you know. But anyway, I accepted the invitation, of course, and went to play with Messiaens, and over the next 4 years.
He was working with Messiaens. And that is for us incredible. He's telling, when I was in his room and he was telling me that. Okay, continue, I hear.
Yeah, no, I agree. The theory classes with Professor Hill, they were amazing. I mean, he recorded everything with Messiaens, like as a supervisor in his project, and he just kept on telling little anecdotes about the first time he was at Messiaens' house and he sat down on a chair and the chair crashed. So all these small anecdotes, and then later on in the session, he started talking about truly analytical stuff, and he really knows his Messiaens. He says, no, in a Turangalîla you can find this and this and this in his earlier piano works over there, and here's the influence for this, and here's the influence for that. So he just really, he opens the piece. And we've got another session with him tomorrow, so that's going to be equally, he said it's going to be much more theoretical, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, Messiaens didn't set out to change me, and I don't want to set out to change any of the conductors. that I'm working with this week. But if something that I pass on strikes them as important and valuable that they can develop, I'll be very pleased with that. I don't think that they should just... I don't think that I should say to them, Messiaens said this, so you should do it. I don't think that's right. He gave the advice to me personally. He maybe would have given different advice to somebody else.
Imagine Messiaens in 1945, he was 36 years old, and he got this commission from a great American orchestra, the Boston Symphony Orchestra. This must have been enormously exciting for Messiaens, and one can imagine that he went all out to impress in Turangalîla. I think there's no doubt at all about that.
This nice feeling, 105 people are waiting for you, and you are waiting to do the music. It's nice.
So just a quick note, 2 before figure 5 is no rallentando. Good, let's do the same thing, figure 2. Figure 2. One other thing, slightly more difference between these fortissimo, yup button, and then the forte has a different character. Yeah, good. Can it be this?
It's a bit like dating girls, because actually, it's like the first date. You're always quite nervous, mainly because you're scared of the unknown. But then actually the second time, the third time, you sort of get used to it, and then you know what to expect and know where you're working. So it actually gets easier, I think, with the same orchestra.
The musicians that apply to come to Lucerne, they really want to meet other young musicians who are interested in this kind of music. And they come from all over the world. We have a lot of Americans because I think they have a big tradition in summer camps or summer classes, summer academies. They are between 18 and 30 years. And well, when they are in their school or at their conservatory, they're one of few. And when they hear, they're all together on the same level.
There's a really rich tradition here of playing very contemporary music. I mean, music that's more contemporary than you would play really in the United States a lot. And they're not nervous that we can't play this music. So we're always up for the challenge. And then when I learned this year that it was Turangalîla, that just set it over the top for me.
Imagine a slight crescendo going from the second to the first of the next group.
Okay.
Practice one slower. And I see the more you go, these two fingers, they almost play almost together.
I could try another.
It's this particular type of contemporary music. It's you definitely have to come to Europe to study it properly with people who know precise details of how it work, and it's too good an opportunity to pass up.
So this is a bird singing, right? Mm-hmm. Because I heard you playing a bit too soft to playing yesterday.
A bit too soft.
For a bird, yes, I thought.
Okay.
So I would suggest a more pointed finger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very sharp here, and maybe without playing louder, I would go fast in the key. You see?
Their enthusiasm and their energy, it's very, very positive. And they're so well prepared, so I really, sometimes I say, well, what am I doing here, more or less? Well, I think finally we're here to add the little touch that will transform them from very good instrumental players to artists, let's say, so that will give them this extra sparkling quality.
The oboe solo must play fortissimo, and it's not correct.
And make sure the grace notes to be bigger.
The conductor cannot do everything when working with a group of musicians. There's only a certain amount of information he can impart. Having the soloists of the ensemble Anto Contemporain is like having a group of research experts who have the answers to any of the technical difficulties that the musicians might pose. And this expertise is what makes them so valuable.
By the way, I forgot to introduce, I didn't think she was coming today. Our Ondes Martenot player is Cynthia Millar.
Yes, the Ondes Martenot means literally, Ondes means waves. Martenot was the name of its inventor, Jean Martenot, and it adds an extra layer of color that is very, very distinctive to Messiaens' huge orchestra. For instance, it's used in the slow movement, the sixth movement, the Jardin du Sommeil d'Amour, the Garden of the Sleep of Love, and it doubles the melody in the violins and has this extraordinary otherworldly effect, very, very haunting. But it has lots of timbres, from a very kind of sweet, ecstatic sound also to a much more kind of metallic edge. And it can play melodies, but it can also glissando, it can kind of swoop, if you like, through melodic lines. To me, Messiaens had invented a style of melody that it was suitable for the Ondes Martenot even before the instrument had been invented, actually, back in the 1920s. But it's not surprising that he used it in Turangalîla.
Guten Abend, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren. Eine Premiere, ein neues Konzertformat. 40 Minuten, 11 Mal beim Festival. Vielen Dank für Ihr Kommen. Sagen Sie es weiter. Wir hoffen, dass das eine tolle Reihe wird und wollen die auch in der Zukunft weiterführen. Dankeschön.
This afternoon is the first 40 minutes concert we're doing. And the idea behind it is that if they make a short concert, it's interesting for people just to walk in and get a little bit of the feeling of what's going on.
In a relatively short period of time, coming in clothes, dressed up just as you are, you can have an experience which is really fascinating.
Like antipasti, a beginning of the eating.
A sense of sharing of what we think is so amazing about these pieces.
Yeah, awesome.
The thing of learning, it's like an osmosis process. So you're told something and you say, yes, of course, I believe that, and then you sort of forget about it, and then you realize that you've learnt it in about a year, and then you realize why you've learnt it. So maybe it could be that one of us is like conducting, maybe not Messiaen, but maybe something else. We're on the podium in the Czech Republic or in England or another country, and then somewhere in a rehearsal and the penny drops, and we go, that's what we were learning about 6 months ago.
It's fantastic to hear all these big conductors, to take opinions, to hear about the experiences. We were discussing about something, was a question, and the answer was, when I was working with Messiaen, and of course it's like, okay, I hear you.
As a young conductor, you spend so much time thinking about very kind of minute details and technical things, and actually this has been a good chance to forget about the technical stuff, to trust them and to think, what's this piece really about? And you don't learn that at home. You learn it when you watch them playing, and you learn it when you really see the Martenot or when you see the other instruments.
It's a work that's very, very dear to my heart. I think it is unlike any other piece of music that was ever written. There are things in it that, if I didn't know it, I would feel my life was so tremendously impoverished. So the joy of conducting it is one where you feel each time it's a real gift. It's a special opportunity. And often as human beings, I think we take it for granted, the miracle of being alive. And the Turangalîla reminds you of just what a miracle it is to be a sentient human being.
Conducting is a very personal profession, and your technique, it matches your body, it matches your ideas about the music, so everything has to do with really the person that you are. I think Kleiber is a god, or Abbado is a god, but I can never be a second Haitink, because he's a Haitink, and I cannot be a second Haitink. So I have to become Stijn Berkouwer in order to become a good conductor. And that's...
Or Chiacchierini.
Yeah.